Shalom Elohim. Peace be upon you. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High Yahuwah through His Son Yahushua HaMashiach. It's your brother UncleK. And we're back with another one. Hope y'all doing well. Hope y'all having a Baruch day. I hope right now you have a sound mind and a sound heart. Peace out. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Yeah, we about to get into it. We about to get into it. Sipping on some water right now. Got to stay hydrated. As we about to get into it. So this live was titled "No Man Should Be on the Receiving End." Now, UncleK, what are you talking about? The man shouldn't be on the receiving end. You see, from a spiritual lens, a lot of men need this kind of message, especially those that are putting away sexual iniquity and they feel like they're having trouble with putting it away, continuously going back to watching fornication on these websites, right? You see, it's a reason why they made these kind of things free, right? And trust me, not just men are on the receiving end, but we know that women just as much watch that kind of content, right? Now, for a man, if you're watching that kind of content on the internet and you haven't put it away, you're still wrestling with it, you're going back and forth. One minute you praising the Most High, then the next minute you going through a ton of adversity, ton of sexual immorality is flooding you, right? This is for you, right? This is for every man, truth be told, because once you get this realization, this should make you want to put it away. And if you have put it away, then keep it put away, for real. You see, when you watch that content as a man, you're on the receiving end, right? You're receiving. And we know that this type of content, it's fornication, right? It's a lot of strange activity that go on, right? We know now with a lot of knowledge that it's witchcraft, right? They do a lot of casting. They put a lot of spells and things towards this type of content. That's why the whole world and the people that's in the world, that's the reason why they're so drawn to this content, right? When you having a hard day, you stressed out, or you're a man and you feel like it's hard for you to get a woman, right? Because you're not trying to improve your life to get a wife. You just want a woman just to have a quick thrill. And when you're not getting that quick thrill, you go on the phone to be the receiving end, right? You see, as a man, you laying down on your mattress watching this type of content, you receiving it. You laying on your back, you're receiving it, right? And the thing about it is that when you partake with this type of content, it turns you out. You start to become confused, right? A lot of men are actually dealing with this. They're very confused, right? They may claim that they're a heterosexual man, but by you being on the receiving end, you start becoming very effeminate, right? Slowly but surely, this content will turn you in and out. It will turn you completely feminine. that you will want to do things with strange affections, right? Now, a lot of men are not coming forth with this type of talk. They come off with it from a scientific perspective. They talk about the cerebral cortex. We talk about dopamine. We talk about the neurotransmitters. They talk about these things, but from a spiritual lens, when you're watching another man and another woman, technically you are the woman receiving it, right? You're not giving it. You understand? And a lot of men, they release to this type of content on a daily basis. It's accessible, it's free. Now, when a man is wrestling with this content, he feels like he got to get blockers and all these different type of things. He gets the blocker and then he removes the blocker to peak, you know. And as a man, you don't need no blockers. You just need to put it away, put the iniquity away. You know what I'm saying? In this life, in this lifestyle, being Kodesh, we don't play peekaboo with wickedness, right? We don't want to take a quick peek. You know what I'm saying? That's very off. That's very confusing for real. See, brother Aki, you talking, man. You said you right, Ak, on this lifestyle change. A lot of things, a lot of things you want done, you're gonna have to do them yourself. The type of content, yeah, a lot of things you're gonna have to get it done yourself. A lot. You may have some help. You may have a help meet. You may not have a help meet. Either or, when you have Kodesh brothers on your side, you're never doing it by yourself. But when it comes down to certain things to improve yourself, you're gonna have to do it by yourself because it's you and the Most High. The Most High Yah, He's making a way for you. He's giving you direction. He's opened up that avenue, and you gotta go get it done. Right? Nobody's gonna hold your hand when you're gonna go train. Right? A lot of people need a lot of men on their side just to go train. We get it done by ourselves because when we train, we spend the time with the Most High with all things that we do. So having somebody in your corner holding your hand while you train, you don't really need that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do it. You gotta do it by yourself. Training by yourself is a great meditation, especially going to a park that's not overly packed. That way you getting that good meditation while you train. But you say gotta earn that dopamine, especially if you want a wife. Man, that dopamine, you just gotta do edifying things just to keep that dopamine flowing in at a healthy rate. Doing things wickedly, that's temporary dopamine that don't last, that's not sustainable, right? And when you're partaking in that wicked type of content, you're on the receiving end. They say, yeah, it's dopamine, but it's actually a spirit, you know what I'm saying? It's a spirit. Because that type of content, it don't make you feel good. For real. That type of content don't make you feel good. And I know for a lot of us, we don't remember the last time. You know what I'm saying? We don't remember it. We just know what we've committed in the past, and we know that it's not good. And a lot of men, and us men too, when you get to the point where you're not wrestling with sexual lust, you're not wrestling with that type of thing. That's a freedom right there. That's freedom. You got to thank the Most High for that. If you could evaluate yourself and just be like, sometimes when you're praying to the Most High, you thankful. You don't feel. You could really check yourself. That's why you got to be in a constant meditation every day. You got to really evaluate yourself, evaluate your walk, and be like, I don't really feel a tendency to go out of myself and do something wicked. You don't feel these things. You don't feel these impulses. Even when you're around a lot of people that's showcasing that strange activity, you don't have those strange impulses. So that's a blessing, right? And with everything else in our life, we just got to continue to work on it. right? So y- yeah, coffee. Yeah, man, rolling with the punches. Yeah, I think I'm a little over a week now, no caffeine, so feeling pretty good right now. Feeling really good actually. Um, clarity, yeah, starting to kick in. But the thing too is when you weren't heavily addicted to it in the first place, you just like the taste. You can get off of it easily. It just for me, it just looked real nice in the kitchen. You got a pot, you got a jar, you pour your coffee in there, you look at it, it just looked nice. When you got your fruit bowl, your utensils and things like that, you just got a little jar of coffee sitting right there. It looked nice. It's like a little kitchen decoration. You know what I'm saying? But realizing when you don't need the coffee, it's not even necessary, really. You know, yeah, it's not really necessary because when you didn't have the addiction, you still gonna go through it because you were still tricking your mind. You know, so then when you get off of it, yeah, had a bad headache on day one. Yeah, that's how it happens. I remember that too. I remember I had so much tension in my head. I'm like, yo, it felt like I got a headache. It was terrible. It wasn't like, it wasn't super severe because by the looks of it, you said you had to take 3 Tylenol. Yeah, man. I think actually, you're not lying. I took an Advil. It was one of them days I was going to the gym and I was just like, yo, I have so much tension. So I popped one Advil. It took it right away, ASAP. I was like, oh, I was like, let's get it. Yeah, but it's not necessary at all. A lot of things that we're not addicted to, you can put it away much easier, than actually being addicted to something. That's why, like I stated, we shouldn't be having vices, right? And for a man to be addicted to, you know, that filthy type of content, that's only doing him a disservice. You know what I'm saying? That's weakening him to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have to go through a drastic change. It's gonna change you from the innermost deepest parts of your being, man. Because once you put that away, you're gonna go through a very severe metamorphosis, and you got to stick with that transformation. That's why I say when a lot of men when they first get on this lifestyle change, but they don't know what they're doing because it's spiritual. In order to honor your vessel in sanctification and honor, it is something spiritual that you're doing. It's not something carnal. So when you have that carnal mindset, those carnal desires will stay right there. It will creep right in, no matter if you put it away. Right? Those carnal desires will creep right back in, and it will take hold of you. Right? That's why spiritually you want to put it away. When you put it away spiritually, then things get put away physically. Right? All things are done spiritually first, and it manifests to the physical. So when you have a spiritual mind with this lifestyle, because it's not just a lifestyle, like that's something that as I'm speaking, I'm just flowing, right? We realize it's not really a lifestyle, right? It's actually putting away iniquity. Semen retention is not a lifestyle. Being Kodesh is the way that we are supposed to be, being Yah's chosen people, right? Being the people from Yashrael, right? Being the tribe of Yehuda, we are called to be Kodesh. When you serve the Most High, you're called to be Kodesh. So it's not really a lifestyle, right? Lifestyle changes. I guess lifestyle in modern times just be like, oh, things that you're into, right? So what we say training is a lifestyle? Not really. You know, it's things that we do in this lifetime, and do we do it with style? I mean, we are the salt of the world, so everything we do, we should do it with a little flavor, right? It shouldn't be bland. So technically, it's not a lifestyle where you feel like you gotta adapt and you gotta make it seem like it's it's something that you gotta go. You gotta have in your repertoire. You know what I'm saying? When you've been on this lifestyle change for a long time, you realize that this is a good way to live, right? Feeling clean, right? Keeping it away, knowing that this essence that's in your body is meant for procreation, right? When you realize that, then you could go deeper and you could go further. Take a sip of this water. Definitely have to be Kodesh. It's a must. It's a must. I feel like my arm getting a pump just holding this mic. Switch it up. Let the left arm get a pump. So yeah, no man should be on the receiving end. Because if you're on the receiving end, that's gonna feminize you. Right? It's gonna feminize you on deep levels. And you're not gonna think nothing is going on, but it's subtle changes. Right? Why you think it was so swift for a lot of men to start wearing purses? Why you think those things started happening at a swift rate? Right? A lot of things that they push to the men to emasculate them. Why you think it's so easy for it to creep in? Because they're already emasculating themselves, right? And you see, and that's the biggest thing and the biggest device that's used to emasculate men, and that's sexual iniquity. You can emasculate a man easy with with sexual iniquity, right? Look at eunuchs, right? When eunuchs are castrated, they start becoming very feminine, right? Because they don't have any seminal fluid to produce anymore, right? You done neutered them basically like a dog. So they become very passive. They become very submissive. But then at the same breath, they become very argumentative, right? They become, very just very emotional, right? So with that, a man that's constantly wasting his life essence watching other men with other women, he becomes feminine as well too. He may not be castrated, but he becomes feminine in his ways and his conduct. And we know that that's what the worldly woman want, right? We know that the worldly woman, they want those kind of men, right? We ain't worried too much about it though because it's worldly women. We're not concerned about worldly women, right? We're not concerned about that, right? We concerned about Yah. We concerned about his ways. We want to be protected. We want to be delivered from all and everything that's of this world. So that way we can continue to be strong with his Ruach, his spirit, through his son Yahushua HaMashiach. Eventually, you will get a woman. We all gotta be patient. We wasn't born into this world already having wives. It's something that we had to go and get. It's something that we had to earn. You know what I'm saying? Am I better than any other man because I'm married? I don't look at it that way. I have a wife. I'm thankful. I could build, and so be it. Still got to be vigilant, regardless of the fact, right? Kim said facts out. Lust can easily get you eliminated, especially in today's times. If you indulging with lust in these times, you're gonna be given over so easily. You know, right now, as we speaking right now, if you don't have any spiritual protection, then you could be cooked out here. You could be cooked right now. So, and that's the kind of discernment we can feel just sitting right now on my patio, and I'm aware of the dynamics, right? I'm aware of the quality of the air, how it feels, right? What's going on in the spiritual realm? You could feel, what's a good word? Yeah, you could feel the magnetics, right? You could feel the spirits. You could feel that tension, right? It's easy for someone to get hijacked out here. It's easy if you don't have any protection. See, we got a lot of we got a lot of men out here that's transforming themselves to become women. You can see that. That's how it's starting to happen too. A lot of men are wearing dresses now, broad daylight. A lot of men out here they walking with shoes they got a wedge or a heel. Right. A lot of men are wearing women's bags. Right. A lot of men are, coloring their hair all types of different colors. You know, so much stuff going on. Right. And we can see women, they're just becoming more loose. Right. They're becoming more loose unless they was raised a certain type of way to respect themselves. Right. See, Ox said we are focused on our father's business. That's why we attract and lean towards business on this walk. Yeah. We're not so concerned with relationships. You know, um, if we want more brothers in our walk, if we want to be around sisters, we could just pray that to the Most High to guide us. And He is guiding us. He is guiding us to our brothers and to our sisters. He is guiding us. But in this land right now, captivity, it's hard to mingle with a lot of people. That's why Shaul said, don't dine with the fornicators, the drunkards, right? Those that is in iniquity, we can't dwell with them. So that means that it's so much iniquity and so many people partaking in these things that a lot of times you're gonna have to be solo. We scatter across the four corners of the earth. That's why we connecting through this platform right now. And when we connect through this platform, we gotta connect even deeper. That means we gotta exchange emails, gotta get on the Discord, we gotta chop it up, we gotta exhort one another daily. We gotta, in a sense, we gotta be like a therapist to each other, because this is therapy. we don't need to go to we don't need to go to no therapist that's just gonna listen and just tell us sweet words. Like, nah, like the Most High, He listens to us and He gives us correction. He gives us guidance. And then when you speak to your brother, when you speak to your aunt, that's when you guys are supposed to exhort one another daily, right? Give each other your burdens, right? And with that being said, I feel like this is a swift live. We get it done. I haven't been live this whole month. It's the first live of the month. We'll try to keep them going. Y'all willing, we have more content. But as a man, don't be on the receiving end. Don't be on the receiving end. That's why we see a lot of men out here, they starting to act a little strange. Right? Starting to get revealed. Right? Now, as a man too, are you thinking that a lot of men are admiring you? Why would they be admiring you? Right? What are they seeing? Are they seeing righteousness? Are they seeing light? Because a lot of men are very confused and very strange. And that's one of the main reasons, right? We know that a lot of men have violence and bloodshed on their mind as well too. You could be out here playing the whole character. You could be looking like you a street dude, but you know, sometimes it's too much sweet and low in that tea. Too much sweet and low in that juice. Whatever you drinking, man. It's too much sweet and low in there. Right? And when you're walking in light, it exposes the darkness. So that's why people get revealed easy. That's why people be staring at you from far, trying to get you upset. Because they know that's a form of rudeness. You know, trust me, man. These demons out here, they know what they're doing. Right? They're trying to provoke the Kodesh. That's why when you set apart, you be having all these eyes, staring at you out in broad daylight, watching what you're doing. If you're talking to somebody, they trying to read your lips. You going into your pocket to grab your wallet. They want to see what you grabbing out your pocket. You know what I'm saying? You listening to scriptures on your phone. They peeking to see what you're listening to real quick. You know what I mean? They hear a penny drop in your direction. They looking. It's like they straight out of a movie. And right now in these times right now, they just want to party right now. You see, day of rest, Friday sunset, Saturday sunset. You know, it's still rest, right? So when it's nighttime, everybody want to go out club. They want to dress seductive. They want to go to the lounges. They want to play. They want to pass the hookah around. A lot of sweet stuff. You say you're right. It's hard to converse with people on this walk because there's so much iniquity inside people's hearts. Yeah, that's why we gotta be at peace in that word. We gotta be peace, focusing on Kodesh things. There's just so much things in this world that can take the peace away from you. And we just gotta keep it far away from us. It's not doing us anything. It's not feeding us. It's definitely not feeding us spiritually. Right? Things of this world don't feed you spiritually. It just disturbs you. It disturbs your peace. Disturbs that shalom. And we gotta continue to do things and actually put forth the effort to be Kodesh. It's a time for everything. And we got to continue to keep informing ourselves, continue to learn. We got to be able to be taught as well too. We got to continue to be in that mindset where we just want to obtain understanding and knowledge, right? Not to the point where it's gonna make you just grieve and want to spaz out. Because I feel like we've been there already. Like when you come into this truth, you getting into it so deep that you put away everything at once, right? You started to find out so many things, and you just start putting away friends, rebuking family members, rebuking everybody. Then you found yourself isolated. Then you start going through it because you're starting to realize that when you Kodesh, it's not that it's difficult, but how better is it to be Kodesh than to be in the world and partaking in iniquities and the foolish festivals and their feast days, right? Rather than you just being peaceful, right? We're not missing out on nothing. You're not missing out on nothing, right? You're not missing out on nothing. They're gonna make you think that you're missing out on something. Just because the dude is walking around with a woman that got her back out, you ain't missing out on nothing, right? Deep in his inward parts, he's going through it, right? He's going through, he's grieving, right? Let these dudes walk around with their women. Let them think that they walking around with a trophy. You know what's the real trophy? You know what's the real possession? You know what's the real prize? Having that lamb on you, having the blood of the Mashiach on you, having his Ruach HaKodesh, having wisdom walking with you, having Yahuwah as your Alua, as your Elohim, right? That's the true blessing right there. That's why every day we going through the sanctification process, we supposed to keep getting cleansed of the little things, of the parasites, of the germs, of the pestilence that's all flying around. Can't be a man receiving, be on the receiving end though. For real. So the fact these jokers be staring from 3 dots down the street. It's crazy. Yeah. It's real crazy. You see that whole play, you know what I mean? It's like they waiting for you to say hi or something to them. And we do love our neighbor, but we move with respect as well too. So we don't be out here just trying to disrespect and entertain people like that. We can't move like that. We're not entertainers. If someone wanna know why we move, how we move, I'll say it's the most high Yah. And that's it. That's it. Give them a simple answer. The most high Yah. That's why in certain work environments they don't want religion. We ain't talking religion. We talking facts. He said that's why we don't watch the news anymore because all it is bad news. If brother or sister is trying to put us on game from the righteous perspective, then he'll take heed if it's good food. Yeah, that's a fact. Because the brothers, they're not making news on everything from the news, like every single thing, but things that they feel like is necessary for our people to know, then yeah, it's definitely wise to be edified. Things that don't pertain to us, things that pertains to other nations, then we don't worry about that at all. For real. So let's continue to stay righteous, stay peaceful, right? Seek after his righteousness, seek after Yah's righteousness, right? Because if we try to do things on our own accord, our righteousness looks like a filthy rag. So we got to take on his righteousness. Seek the kingdom and all things will be added unto you. So that's how we got to move. We got to hold our peace in this land, man. So much going on. And when you a so-called black man as well too, they expect you to be crashing out like the 2/3. And when you're not crashing out, that's when they looking at you now. They like, hold up, I think he knows something. He doing something now. He doing something. He's starting to stand out. It's different. It's different. You see, and that's when we gotta continue to lift up the Most High, because the Most High, He's taking off a lot of things that was on us, a lot of things that was holding us back, a lot of things that was on us from our forefathers and our fathers. You know, we got to keep going, keep casting out these things and keep removing these things, right? Those tendencies to, disrespect the Most High. We can't be out here disrespecting the Most High, right? So, fellas, be at peace, be at shalom. Continue to have a great night. And, brother Hakeem, we can hop on the Discord if you want, man. We could chop it up. We could take the conversation a little further as well, too. I'm gonna let you do some talking, man. I want to hear some perspective because I'm about to whip up some food as we speak. All right, brothers. We'll talk soon when y'all willing. And continue to keep your peace. All right, brothers. Yeah, I'm gonna hop on. I want y'all to continue to keep your peace, and I want y'all to continue to keep going. All right, no matter what happens, no matter how you feel emotionally, because the adversary is trying to make you get into your emotions. Just don't backslide. Don't do a cannonball, into iniquity, because the adversary is sending agents your way to talk sweetness into you. Right? They're trying to give you that sweet bread so you can continue to keep eating it. They keep giving you that type, like when it's that type of food that they're giving you, right? You know how the scripture says, give them milk, because they're not ready for the food, right? They throw in a little bit of sweet bread too, and a little bit of sweet bread with that milk. So you can keep coming back for that bread, and they filling you up with that bread. That's why you got to be very cautious of who you listening to. Be very cautious of the information, right? If the information is making you feel good, you got to let go of it. If the information is make you if it's making you want to run, then that means something. Because I know with a lot of content, when people talking this truth, a lot of people start running, but then they come back because they want to, they got to eat slowly. That's why that's why with a lot of us, we don't be out here just giving milk. Like now we jump straight to the food. So that way you can eat piece by piece. You come back, you can run back. You be like, hold on, man. Why did I unsubscribe? Like, let me come back. Let me eat. Like, I gotta eat. He was helping me eat, man. And if it's fuel for you, if you getting exhorted, if you getting the reminders, then so be it. All praises to the Most High Yah. But we always got work to do, fellas. Just be solid. Foundation is built on a solid foundation. Let's continue to build on that foundation, which is Yahushua HaMashiach. We build on that foundation, right? He's the lamb that let his life down. right? That blood sprinkled upon us. So when it comes down to these feast days and things like that, where you got to sacrifice a lamb, we in the land of our captivity. You can't even partake in these feast days, really. But you could think of it. You could look at what was being done, but always remember the lamb was already sacrificed, right? So he already paid the atonement for your sins, for your iniquities. So let's continue to keep going, fellas. Shalom Aleichem. Peace be upon you. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High Yahuwah through His Son Yahushua HaMashiach. It's your brother Uncle K. Glad y'all tapped into another one. I'll see you soon, Most High willing. Y'all take care. Y'all be at peace. All right. Shalom.